Okay, YouTubers. This is for those who make videos and fucking help us out with, random shit that we don't know how to do. The DIYers. This is for the, what is it? Terrain? What is it? Extreme terrain. Like purchases for the skin armor, the fender flares, the rocker panels or rock sliders, and then the front fenders, which everyone seems to have a really hard time doing. I ordered all 8 pieces from Extreme Terrain. As far as the material goes, the material is really solid, really heavy duty, but the powder coating is trash. Some of the what do you call it, the hardware is also trash. It strips right off, it overheats. Obviously you can't seriously tighten it up, so I had to go to Home Depot and get grade 8 bolts. I would recommend better washers than the cheap little washers that they gave us. For this back area, this is only for a TJ. For this back area, which is this guy right here, I had to get a smaller bolt than the longest bolt. I guess somewhere in between, like 2.5 inches. And if you can see, give me a second. You can see underneath the seat belt, these don't go all the way, even though the install on their video, they make it look nice and simple. These don't go all the way. Okay, so you're gonna have to make do with what you got on that one. But this one, that's right next to the seat belt, what I did was I put a little piece of tubing from a shock, one of those little tubes that go in between that, and I made the hole bigger to so it wouldn't dent this part. When I tightened it down without making the hole big enough to fit that little tubing pipe, it was bending the actual body part in towards the back of this. So it was really crappy. They just gave us a couple of fucking bolts and shit, and it didn't even fucking work. As far as the rest of it, the metal is really solid. Another thing was, when you tighten these up, obviously put these in, you're gonna have to separate all 3 of them. There's one here, one here, one there. That's a 4th one in the back. That's if you want to get crazy with it, but you don't really have to if you have an extra person to help you out. One person will not be doing this by himself unless you got a X amount of jacks and a bunch of jack stands or whatever the hell to put something between this so you can kind of give it leverage. When you do tighten these back down, it's gonna compress this and make it crooked, so it's gonna look like it's not gonna tighten them all the way down. As you can see, that piece right there still have separation issues, so if you over tighten them, you will strip the screw out, which I did on this one, on the middle one. I managed to do it on this one as well, but I managed to save it by putting a nut back here. If you take this off, it has a opening, you can slide a nut back there. It's really hard to do that, but I managed to save this one, and this one I just put a bigger bolt that happened to save it. But I will get that fixed correctly eventually. But this I had to go purchase myself from Home Depot. If you're gonna put the fender flares in the back with skin armor, you're gonna have to get better material. and longer material that can squeeze them together and not break, like the cheap little bolts that they sent me. They almost look like they're aluminum pieces of shit. Anyway, this for sure, you gotta be careful when you put those in, because they're gonna fuck it up. So don't over tighten them, just tighten them until it no longer moves. At least it tries to compress some of this thick ass metal in, but regardless, some of this what do you call the paint? This shit that they put on there, it's so cheap, it chips right off. So don't even worry about taking care of it while you're installing it. Every time I put it down on something, it chipped. As you can see right there. You can see right here. Every fucking time. It just didn't make a difference. Right here, everything just kept chipping away. So as far as the front fenders, when you guys are cutting them, all you need to do is cut this straight back in front of this, okay, and then this is a straight cut. I made a line right here, straight cut right here, all the way back, so that this entire thing comes off. Somebody had already cut these fenders for me, so I don't need to cut all this off. But if you do have the full fender, just cut from here, somewhere around right here. You don't need to cut that far back. But somebody wanted a wider or opening for the fender so that they can go rock crawling. Anyway, this is the other part on the back. You're gonna have to cut most of this. This is all being eliminated. All of this is gonna be eliminated. So this just gives you a pretty good idea of where it's going. All of this is coming off. And my problem was that I put these in first and waited for this last. So if you have to, do this first and then do those, because it fucking sucks. Other than that, you can get a pretty good outline of this is how far it's gonna go. So this is the line you're gonna follow, and you're gonna cut it all the way down right next to those bolts. As you can see the line I drew right there, so that fender will fit, because this tubing gets in the way. When you put that in there, that tubing is right here, so it gets in the way. So you're gonna have to cut. I don't know if I need to go in a little bit more. I'll try on mine first where I have it, and then cut it back some more. But this is just for those DIYers that help me out a lot on their videos that they make. So, you know, somebody else is doing it. I hope it helps out somebody else. This entire flange thing is coming off. Somebody had already cut it again. So if you have the whole thing up here, you're gonna have to cut this entire piece off all the way up. So because of this piece, it's gonna be in the way when you put it in. Hopefully you guys can see that right there. And here's the other piece. That's why you don't need to go that far. Those bolts that they supplied for this area were pretty good sized, but they were so fucking cheap. As soon as I tightened them down, they started stripping on me. I don't usually over tighten shit, but you know, you don't want shit to fucking fall off on you, so I went and got more shit. See, here's another piece that just chipped off. Piece of shit. This is the reason you put this in first, because I was scratching the shit out of this one. And not only that, but you got to squeeze it back there. Just be careful when you're making your cuts. The oscillating multi-tool, or what the hell was it called? I went and bought one from Walmart. It was fucking $20. This thing works great. $20. And don't use the bit that comes with it. I think it was this thing. It ate through the fucking thing right away, because the metal on your Jeep, the stock shit is pretty heavy. So I bought the one that they sell separately, and that thing cuts through the fucking metal like nothing. You do have to get a little bit of experience with it, but that's what it did right now. I just thought I'd make this little small video for you guys in case you guys are having trouble. But this entire panel comes off, and some of this comes off, and then in the back, that entire piece where the bolts are at, this what is it, the safety retainer wall, whatever the hell it's called, that's coming off as well. Even the part down there where the bolts are at, right there, though, that's all getting cut off, and it's all going to be open and loose and looks like shit until you put the actual fender back on. And once you start tightening shit up, it just strengthens everything up, and it should look a lot better and feel a lot better once everything's pretty tightened up. But I had to buy those bolts. What size were they, honey? 5/16. 5/16 half-inch hex nut with the washers on both ends, and then a lock nut in the back. You don't want that shit coming off on you. See, like these fucking little bolts right here is what they gave me for these. And they were total pieces of shit. They fucking just immediately fucking stripped. Some of the holes you can't even use because on this part right here, there's nowhere or no way you're gonna get back there without cutting a hole into your body frame or whatever the hell you call it. And then this one was the other one that's also behind the seatbelt, and you can't get a nut on there unless you drill through that and the inner body fender or the wheel well of the inside. So again, what I did inside is just made the hole bigger and put in one of those sleeves from the shocks. I had a whole bunch of them, just in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about. Whole bunch of these. Those are the sleeves that they'll give you a bunch of them when you buy some shocks sometimes. And that thing went in, and as soon as you put it in the bolt, what it did was it compressed the bolt on the back, and then the nut the nut in the back and the bolt in the outside, and it just compressed the wall to the body frame. That part really fucking sucked. I think I fucking cut myself twice doing this. But these, you're gonna have to have either your plate, or you're gonna have to drill out some actual separated, holes so you can just put your plate. Right now, I just have mine on a little bumper, which was tough as shit. This fucking metal was for some reason harder than the shit they sold us. And then on this side, this one is no cakewalk. That one was a lot easier. You do have to drill through a bigger wall here, but these are just a little bit. These is easy as hell. So is this one. You can just reach underneath back there on the bottom. But this one right here, I think you can get it just on the bottom on this one, but this guy right here in the fucking middle, you cannot do that without removing this wheel well. And then down there, I don't think you can see that, but it's way the fuck back there. I mean, it's way back there. You can't even see it. If you do remove enough parts, you can get to it easily. What I did was I folded this down, the wheel well covering, whatever it is, the plastic, and then I had my daughter put the nut and washer on there for me because she had really skinny hands, and I didn't have to remove all this shit. There is a plate right here that you can remove and give you a little bit of space, and if you want to go further than that, there's the emissions, smog, whatever the hell is back there. If you take all that shit off, you'll reach it really quick, but I was too lazy or impatient to do that. So, and that's all the magical tricks I have. for now. So take care, and hopefully you guys got a better chance in not ruining your fucking truck like I did. I didn't ruin it exactly, but this really fucking hurt me, because I'm pretty much stripping a part that's holding your damn Jeep to the frame. So make sure you don't over tighten that. Tighten it pretty hard, but if you go too much, it's gonna strip those bolts out of some little pissant nut that's back there. So you don't want to fucking do that. All right. Thank you, YouTubers. Later.